next segment, which is called Doing Your Best, and then I'll go get my co-host. Today is going to be by Debra Malbec, about how she is doing her best.
I've joked around with my adult son that everyone has some problems or addictions to something. And I'm apparently addicted to volunteering. If I hear a request that help is needed, it is difficult for me not to raise my hand and offer to help. I do finally seem to be learning to limit my volunteering to things that I enjoy, things I'm capable of doing, things I have time to do, and to limit my monetary donations until my bills and other obligations are covered. However, in the past, I have done many different kinds of volunteer work. I was a foster parent, starting out with 2 children, but I had up to 5 at once. I was a nursery school and elementary school volunteer aide. I was a campfire group leader, a suicide prevention telephone hotline counselor, a theater usher, a tour guide in the San Francisco Performing Arts Center, an adult literacy reading tutor, a helper at the Larkin Street Youth Outreach. Turn the page. I made it big print so I wouldn't have to wear my reading glasses. And I worked with the League of Women Voters, handling some of their media and eventually the presidency. I have friends who volunteer to take care of cats, or visit nursing homes, or answer calls at a sex information hotline, or deliver food to shut-in adults. But I feel that tutoring children is a higher calling because children are our future. Now I've settled down, calmed down, and I only have one main volunteer job, which is an elementary school reading tutor. And I work with an organization called Reading Partners. I picked this one because I love to read, because reading is essential to a successful life in our culture. Studies have shown that reading at grade level in 3rd grade is an indicator of being able to graduate from high school. I do my volunteer reading through Reading Partners because their organization makes it easier for me to be effective. It provides me with my target child audience resources at a physical location to use. And I mention that because for a couple of years I volunteered independently at an Oakland elementary school, and they supplied me with no materials whatsoever. I had to go to the public library and check out children's books to have things to read. And they didn't even supply me with a place to work with the kids. We would sit in a chair in the hallway in the school. So working with Reading Partners, where Reading Partners has a room that's theirs, and they have a full set of supplies, and they've tested the children, and they know what help they needed. It just makes it easier to do the work and more pleasurable because I'm not having to scramble after the details. I'm now in my 8th year with Reading Partners and my 3rd different school. I tutor 2 days a week with 2 children for an hour each per day for a total of 4 hours a week. That's my choice. Who are the kids? The children are identified by their classroom teachers as needing help in reading. The Reading Partners coordinator then tests them with a computer-based test to determine what their current reading level is, and that specifies what lesson they should start with. What are the resources like? Resources are divided into 4 bins based on level of where the child is reading. So there's pre-reader, where we're still teaching them the alphabet, beginning reader, comprehension reader 1, and comprehension reader 2. Every bin has about 40 lessons that are divided into plastic folders, and you look at a sheet that describes where the child is, and then you just go out, get the right little folder, and that's got everything you need in it. The testing identifies where each child starts, and then they just do the lessons in order. Some lessons take just 1 session, while others may stretch out over 3 sessions. Sometimes we find that the placement seems incorrect, and then we jump either backwards or forwards, whichever is appropriate. Each session begins with a tutor read aloud for 10 minutes, so the child gets a model of what good reading sounds like. Then there's a lesson on letter sounds, or story construction, or other topics, depending on what the child is ready to learn. And finally, the child reads aloud a short to medium length book, and the student and tutor discuss the story. Excuse the bubble. do I get out of it? It's actually really fun to work one-on-one with children. For many of them, it is the only time they have the exclusive attention of an adult. As they begin to make progress, it is exciting. We develop relationships. Last week, I got my hair cut. Little girl I was working with said, "Oh, Miss Debra, you got your hair cut." It was fun, you know, just to have somebody notice me. I also find that the reading partner managers and coordinators, as well as the regular full-time classroom teachers, they're very appreciative of the tutors, and it's nice to get some recognition. In the spring, there's a volunteer appreciation party, and individuals are recognized publicly for their efforts. I've been called up to the front and given a prize, a gift, which of course is a book. How can you volunteer or help? Well, they accept volunteers who do as little as 1 session a week. More common is to do 2, but all the sessions are during the normal work week of 8:30 a.m. to 3:30 p.m., Monday through Thursday. The reading centers are generally closed on Fridays. Some employers will give you time off from your regular work to do community service work. And some people come in during their own lunch break, or maybe you work swing shift or have a day off Monday through Thursday. But many of us volunteers are retired or students, so we don't have a set schedule. If you can't work in a tutoring session, financial donations are always welcome. I also visit library book sales and buy books for beginning readers that can be given to the children to take home and keep. We try to give children books because that's another thing that some studies have shown, that having books in your home is really helpful to being a good reader and to thinking about reading a lot. I have some handouts here about reading partners to share with you. I'm not going to pass them out to everyone because I personally hate to see pieces of paper wasted and just go into the trash. But I'll put them on the table with the coffee afterwards, and please do help yourself if you're interested in picking up some information. I urge you to volunteer. If not to do reading with kids, find some other volunteer work that you like. Volunteering really feels good. It makes you feel like you have an extra purpose in life beyond just earning your living, and I strongly recommend it. And my last message is, please vote on or before Tuesday. Thank you.